Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto becomes the king of the underworld? Naruto x female kyuubi movie. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Tsunade Senju stares out at the village her clan helped create. Rage and sadness fills her honey eyes at the people who celebrated the death of a young boy, someone she started to see as a son. It has been just over a week since one Sasuke Uchiha fled the village to join hands with hated traitor Orochimaru, disgraced member of the Densetsu no Sannin. Tsunade sent a ragtag group of genin and one chunin to bring back the last loyal. I should have done better, she thought. The team was composed of Naruto Uzumaki, Kiba Inuzuka, his Ninken partner Akamaru, Choji Akamichi, Nichi Hyuga, and were led by Shikamaru Nar. The team was doomed from the start, Tsunade thought. Her traitorous teammate sent his elites to bring Sasuke to him. Each member fell to the sound 4, but luckily Rock Lee and Sabaku's siblings aided the team, however it was too late for one. Sasuke was gone, and Naruto was dead at the Uchiha's hands, but a sliver of hope was held, as Naruto's body was not found. They celebrated. They celebrated thinking you were dead, Naruto. Indeed, the village celebrated Naruto's supposed death. Even without a body, the village celebrated the death, but in the same breath cursed Naruto for failing to bring Sasuke back. The villagers were even emboldened to break the former Sandaime Hokage's law concerning the younger generation about him. All of the younger generation learned Naruto was the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yuko, going so far as to say the boy was the fox incarnate. This turned Naruto's classmates against him, as they too began to see him as the fox. Fools, a lot of them thought. The doors open, and Tsunade's faithful assistant and surrogate daughter Shizune Kato enters with a soft expression on her face and sadness in her dark eyes. Tsunade-sama, there is a council meeting called by the elders, she says. The pigtailed blonde narrows her honey eyes in a rage. Those bastards, hisses, grabbing her grass green Hiyori. Unbeknownst to, but the whole of was that Naruto Uzumaki was alive, and would have his just revenge. Hell 6 Circle City of Dis. A figure stares at a large reflective pool, as Tsunade heads to the council meeting, his electric green eyes narrowing in a rage, and creating a stream of green mist. He is a towering 6 feet and 4 inches with a muscular frame, no longer the scrawny child he used to be. He wears nothing but a pair of white slacks with blonde hair, 2 goat-like horns sticking out his hair, his chin resting on his gloved fist. He sits on an elaborate but white throne of skulls and chains with a woman resting her head on his shoulder. She is not a normal woman, as she has white hair, electric green eyes, and 9 white bushy tails with a revealing black and green kimono around her sinful body. Don't worry, Naruto Kanyomi-sama will find a way for you to return, the woman says, and smirks. Perhaps they can become ruined like us, she thought. Naruto Uzumaki, the former jailer of the woman next to him, waves his hand, as the pool ripples to show his former classmates, no doubt speaking ill of him. It won't be soon enough. I have already lived a lifetime here with you, Ari, and my sins, Naruto says. Ari Kurama giggles softly, and thinks about how this happened, as the traitoress murdered Naruto, and sent them both to hell. The fool of a Shinigami had condemned Naruto for her sins due his father's seal. This angered the gods, but especially Kami, as Naruto was the child of prophecy. However, her sister Yami saw this as an opportunity. The Dark Goddess placed Naruto on the throne, and made him ruler of the 9 circles. Even giving him 7 beautiful women who represented the 7 sins of man, along with herself, as a further enticement to serve her. Seeing the betrayal of his classmates and fellow ninja was enough to corrupt his heart and soul. However, he still cares for the ramen owners along with the Hokage and her assistant, but that's fine, Ari thought. The doors of Naruto's throne room open, and a woman enters, pride, but also vanity in her mismatched eyes of gold and red behind a pair of glasses, her long silver hair tied back into a ponytail and a scrunchie with horns protruding from her head, one being longer than the other. She wears a dark blue silk dress with red interior, and a white fur collar, black leggings, and red ballet shoes. What is Belial? Naruto asks. One of the Yami-sama events will be arriving soon. I took the liberty of summoning the other sins, Belial says. Ari moves to let Naruto stand, and he walks down the steps to show a large tattoo of a rotting goat skull, and the name icon of Sin under it in bleeding letters. Good work, and here is your reward, Naruto says, lifting Belial's chin, and giving her a deep kiss. The Sin of Pride moans, as Naruto's corrupted chakra enters her body with enough power to stain the crotch of her leggings. MOU Belial got to Naruto Kain first, a voice says. Naruto pulls away from Belial to see the Sin of Envy Leviathan, so Levi dear, he says. Leviathan has pink eyes, pointed ears, and waist-length purple hair with a side ponytail on the right side of her head, and 2 tiny horns curled upward on both sides of her head. She wears a white shirt tied on the right side with alternating blue strap arm warmers. An ornate silver belt black short hybrid with thigh-high leg warmers of the same color as her arm warmers, silver knuckle fingerless gloves, and black strapped steel toe boots. You can't blame her. She loves to be first in things, whether it is delivering messages or sex, a voice coos. Belial glares at the Sin of Lust. Asmodeus, shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you, Belial says. Promise, Asmodeus says, licking her lips. She has green eyes, and long pink hair that reaches down to her legs with two giant horns curling backwards, and up on both sides of her head. A pair of small, retractable black wings sprouting from the center of her shoulders, and a knee-length black tail with a spade-shaped tip. She wears a sinful outfit of an ornate purple and black striped collar shirt with a high bottom that exposes the undersides of her breasts, and an ornate, elaborate cape that reaches down to her butt, sporting 8 points with beads along each point, and has fur at the collar. She also has matching patterned fingerless gloves, and a side-split micro-skirt, on top of which is a black belt having a large ornately engraved buckle, and black boots with a spike on the toe boxes. Sayashai was napping, a voice yawning, and it was the sin of sloth Belphegor, with the sin of gluttony Beelzebub following behind her. Belphegor has goat ears, light tan skin, short white hair with a butt-length rat tail, 2 green and yellow horns going straight up on her forehead, and a huge black and yellow striped tail ending in a 3-finger purple claw at the end. She wears a big white long-sleeve shirt buttoned only at the navel, white thong panties, white slouch socks, and a pair of white earrings. Beelzebub says, muffled by the large piece of meat. She is the smallest of them, and has a single spiral horn in the middle of her forehead, as well as small black wings sprouting from her shoulders, green eyes, long blue-black hair done in hip-length twin tails, and chin-length bangs. She wears a silver metal collar around her neck, which is a long metal chain leash wrapped around her body all the way to her feet. A black and green blouse with a chest window, and a green fairy skirt with a white maid's apron over it, white thigh-high stockings, and matching black and green gloves and shoes. It is finally time to return to the surface, says the sin of wrath Satan ere sounds like satin. She has waist-length crimson hair, and 2 long horns on the sides of her head curling toward the center, and then pointing straight upwards. She wears a long red flowing cape, a red bra, a red G-string, ornate red gauntlets, black gloves, ornate black thigh-high high-heel boots, covered by red pieces of armor with black and red metal ankle wings on the sides of her boots. Finally, simply watching mortals is boring. I have so many mouths to feed, says the sin of greed Mammon, and mother of thousands of children. She has waist-length blonde hair with 2 huge curled horns pointing downwards, with an ornate headband. A pair of red and black wings sprouting from the small of her back, which acts like a half-skirt, along with an actual half-skirt which looks like her wings, to cover her butt. An ornate black sleeveless top with a neck guard, and a large breast window, and a black thong with a heart logo. On her arms, ornate fingerless opera gloves, and on her legs, ornate thigh-high flat-heeled boots with a spade-tip tail. We'll have to see my sins, Naruto muses, returning to his throne. Ari settles in his lap, as the other sins take places around his throne, while the door slowly creaked open once again. I greet the Ruined King, the Advent says. He is a tall, lanky man with long white hair, and wearing a black fitted suit. I greet you, as well, Naruto says. I bring regards from Yami-sama, and you can call me Terse, the ad says. Ari sits up straighter, and Naruto crosses his legs. Well Terse, call me Naruto. This is Ari Kurama, and they are my 7 mortal sins, he says. I greet Ari Kurama, and the 7 mortal sins. Now Yami-sama has found a way for you to return to the mortal realm tersely, and Naruto narrows his eyes, but urges him to continue. An ancient relic known as Yamato can cut through realms, however it will take time to reforge the blade terseness. How long Belial asks, speaking for her master, but out of turn. Terse looks at Naruto, and he nods. 3 years in terms of mortals, Terse replies. Simply 3 mortal years. Kukuku has more than enough time for Sasuke, and Konoha to rise only for them to fall to me, Naruto says, and Ari giggles, along with the 7 sins. Also Yami-sama will return Ari Kurama's other half, and the souls of Minato Namikaze, and Hiruzen Sarutobi to be judged, Terse says, snapping his fingers. 2 several suited men and women enter with chained forms of, and Hiruzen, but carrying a large orb of fiery energy. Naruto Minato says. Naruto smirks, as he rises from his throne, as Ari goes to the orb, picking it up, and absorbing the contents. Ah, how I have missed this, Ari says, flexing her power. It is enough to rock the throne room, as Naruto looks over his father, and surrogate grandfather, hello fool, and monkey, he says. Where are we? What is going on? Hiruzen says. Well, you 2 are in hell, the city of Dis. An entrance to the circle of heresy. Naruto starts, and squats down to look both in the eye. You're here to be judged for your crimes, Naruto adds, patting Hiruzen on the cheek. Crimes, Minato says, and Naruto rises back to his full height. Yes, crimes will start with your father. You summoned the Shinigami to seal Ari inside me, taking half of her chakra into his stomach. However, that was a mistake, as when I died I was dragged to hell with Ari. Naruto starts. You meddled in forces you don't understand, all to keep your precious balance of Jinchuriki, Ari hisses. Yes, not to stop the Master Chihaya revenge mother, but to keep Konoha's power, and that moves to you, monkey. You listened to your feckless student's prophecy, and decided to turn it in your favor. You had seals placed on me to make me stunted, and dim-witted filled my head with delusions to keep me your loyal pet, Naruto says. Naruto, you must understand, Hiruzen says, but finds his head rammed into the stone floor by Satan. Silence. Your words no longer hold sway on Naruto, Satan hisses. Naruto places a hand on Satan's shoulder, and she removes her boot. Your meager words won't save either of you. You both condemned me before I was even a day old, he says, his eyes glowing a sick green, and his glare black. For that you will be condemned, and Konoha will soon follow, Naruto adds, and both men gasp. You can't do this, Naruto-san, please think of your mother, the innocence, Minato says. But Naruto flexes his power, sending a deathly chill through their bodies. There are no innocents left in Konoha, his law. His law saw that only five people care about me. The rest were swayed by laziness, stupidity, or some other flippant reason, Naruto shouts. Shall they be taken for their judgment, tersely? Yes, the judge of the dead, Lord Minos, will know their proper circle, Naruto says, and there's people who drag them out, as they protest, but it falls on deaf ears. I wonder what circle they will end up in, Ari muses. I could care less. Come, let us commit unspeakable debauchery in celebration of your power returned, Naruto says, lifting Ari like a bride, and his sins following. 3 years later, on known location, within a lonely forest, a slash in reality opens to a deathly void, but out steps Naruto with the katana in his right hand, and the sheath in his left. Naruto sheaths the new Yamato, and looks around, as Ari steps out next to him. Where are we? She asks. She wears the same scandalous black and green kimono with thin green bodysuit underneath, along with black ballet heels. Near where I died, Naruto says. He wears white hybrid Hakama ninja pants with black-green flames around the left leg. A form-fitting black shirt that shows off every muscle, and a pair of jacket sleeves attached by chain links in the front and back, white gloves, along with black-strapped steel toe boots. The Yamato glows, and becomes a sword trinket around his neck on a silver chain. Quite fitting, Ari says. The pair leave the forest, and soon see the imposing statues of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. The pair of fools, Ari muses, and Naruto chuckles. So where will our revenge begin, she adds. Naruto looks at Hashirama, and then at Madara. We'll start with the one who started this, he says. The aunt of an Uchiha, Ari says, and Naruto nods. Oh yes, I want his eyes, Naruto says, and Ari arches an eyebrow. Well, Sasuke will be my messenger for Konoha. I will deliver him to them with no eyes, no tongue, and his mouth sewn shut, he adds. Ari grins with a giggle, and a cruel smile. Won't that send Konoha into a fit, she says. Oh yes, Naruto says, and narrows his eyes. Go, he adds, as his shadow expands, and a hawk erupts out. What, the hawk says. Find me Sasuke, Naruto says, as the hawk circles him. For fuck's sake, you're nothing like my last boss, the hawk says. Let go and Griffin, Naruto shouts, and the hawk flies off. Ari turns into a kitten-sized fox, and leaps onto Naruto's shoulder, before he leaps off to Sonrune. Land of Grass, Orochimaru hideout. Kabuto Yakushi, the right hand of Orochimaru, stares at the setting sun of one of his master's many bases. He needed to see the sky, and clear his head, as his master was on borrowed time. Despite jumping to a new body 3 years ago, the body was failing, and he needed to jump to Sasuke's body, but his master wanted Sasuke at his best. He remembered when he arrived after killing them, his eyes changed into the Mangekyo Sharingan. I didn't believe he cared for you in such a manner, Naruto-kun, Kabuto thought. The glasses-wearing spy looks at the darkening sky, but doesn't notice the hawk circling the sky. Naruto drops down like a feather, as Ari returns to her human form. I wonder how strong Sasuke has become, he muses, bandages around the lower half of his face to resemble an old adversary. One can only wonder about, Ari muses. The pair enter the underground base hand in hand with their electric green eyes glowing in the shadows. Any unfortunate soul met their end to the ruined pair, their souls feeding them. Naruto stops at an intersection with narrow eyes. Nay, familiar soul, no two souls, he says. Allies or enemies, Ari asks. We'll see when we, Naruto muses. As a panther, the fuck is here, she hisses. Naruto sees her laying on a bed with her legs heavily bandaged. So you survived, he says. Survived. I'm fucking paralyzed. The foul-mouthed Kunoichi shouts. Then why are you still breathing? I doubt Orochimaru keeps useless things, Naruto says, coming into view. Who the fuck are you? The Kunoichi says. Let me refresh your memory, Naruto says, and clears his throat. I won't let you take Sasuke Dadabayo, he says, and Kunoichi's brown eyes whiten. Midget snaps, and Naruto smirks. Not anymore, and your name is Tei. I believe it feels like so long ago, Naruto says. I thought you were dead, Tei says. Naruto folds his arms behind his back with a smile behind his bandages. Same could be said for you, so why aren't you, he says. Tei clenches her fists with gritted teeth. I should be, but my genes kept me alive, she says. Genes, Ari says, but narrows her eyes. It seems our foul-mouthed lady has Uzumaki DNA, she adds, causing Naruto to arch an eyebrow. Well, that makes her family so. Tei, if I give you the chance to walk again, would you serve me? Naruto says. Serve you? Hell, I'd fuck you for the chance to walk again, says, and both demons chuckle. We can do that later, now to get you walking, Naruto says. Tei doesn't feel Naruto dig his fingers into her right leg, but she did feel a surge of power make its way up from her legs, so much that her loins were leaking her love juices. Holy shit, I just came, Tei thought. Her body changes, as her brown eyes become the same electric green as theirs. Her pink hair gains streaks of white, and Naruto's rune symbol, the shape of a thorny spiral, appears on her right thigh. Fuck, I feel good, in fact I feel better than ever, says, sitting up, and standing with ease. I've given you back the power of your curse mark, but without Orochimaru Naruto starts, but Taiya kisses him deeply with tongue. I'm yours Lord Midget says, and Ari giggles. Naruto licks his lips with a sigh, call me Naruto, and do you know any other Uzumaki that are alive he says. Well one for sure her name's Karen, and she's somewhere in the base, Taiya says. Naruto nods slowly, but a demonic grin forms on his face. She can wait until I found my prize, he says, before blinking away. Where did he fucking go says. We need to work on that language, Ari says. The pair step out, as the clone, and one Anko Mitarashi, appears with the latter having the rune symbol in place of her curse mark. Greetings once again insane snake lady Ari says, and giggles, Naruto's word she adds, as the clone pops with smoke. Kukuku who cares what he calls me I'm free, and I am his, Anko says, and Ari giggles darkly. Music. Shine down my name. Naruto could barely contain his laughter, as Sasuke stood opposite him with it in his hand. Who are you Sasuke says, his Sharingan glaring. Naruto throws his head back in laughter, as Sasuke grits his teeth. I said who are you? Sasuke roars. Sasuke. Don't you recognize me? When last we met you killed me, Naruto says, ripping open his shirt to reveal the Chidori wound to his chest, where his heart was. Sasuke's breath hitches, but he composes himself. Dobe, you were dead, I made sure he said. Yes you did by driving a kunai into my head well after you get your fancy eyes tell me, was it worth it? Naruto says. Sasuke grips him, as his manjaku comes to life in the form of 3 intersecting ellipses. Of course it was done I now have the same power as Itachi, and I can have my revenge, Sasuke says, before shooting forward, and swinging his sword. Naruto dodges the precise swings of Sasuke. Orochimaru has trained you well Naruto says. How are you alive Dobe? Answer me Sasuke says, and drives him into the ground. Chidori Nagashi Sasuke utters, sending a surge of lightning across the ground. Naruto dodges, and blinks behind Sasuke, causing him to let go of his, and swing a back knife-edge chop, but Naruto sidesteps. Sasuke swings several snake-like strikes, but Naruto dodges each one, and catches both his hands, before slamming a headbutt into Sasuke's face. Sasuke hisses, staggering back with tears in his eyes, and his nose broken. Idoba Matarasu Sasuke shouts, his eyes bleeding. Naruto watches in amazement, as black flames rush towards him, but the rune demon raises his right, sending green flames to Sasuke's shock. The black and green flames slam into one another to sear the ground, but the black flames cannot overtake the green. What have you done? Sasuke shouts. Naruto blinks behind Sasuke, and slams a roundhouse to his side, sending him careening into a wall. Sasuke Kabuto shouts, seeing the slamming into the wall. However before he could act, shoves a kunai deep into his back. Maybe you'll be paralyzed like I was as she sneers. Taiya Kabuto says. Taiya pushes the kunai further into Kabuto's back. Got it in fucking one she says. Sasuke falls to his knees with a look of rage on his face, as Naruto strolls towards him, but Sasuke's teeth click, as Naruto kicks him up, into a punch sending him back into the wall. Sasuke is the soul you have. Naruto says, preparing to send another kick, but dodges Sasuke's sword behind. Sasuke staggers to his feet, as his sword floats next to him. You will never beat me Dope he says, but finds his throat seized by Naruto. Is it a dare? The orders back then were not to kill you. I held back in that last clash because of my stupid nature, but that is past Naruto says coldly, and slams Sasuke into the wall. Sasuke gasps, as Naruto places his fingers around his left eye. Consider this payment for my suffering Naruto says, rending the eye from the socket. Sasuke screams in pain, and clutches his empty left eye, as Naruto stares at the Sharingan eye, before ripping his left from the socket, and it burns. Come now Sasuke you don't see me crying Naruto says, replacing his left eye. Sasuke staggers to his feet with a furious glare, and fires another burst of Amaterasu, but Naruto dodges, closing the gap, and rending the right eye from Sasuke. He falls to knees with empty eyes, and blood running down his face. Where are you done? Sasuke shouts, attempting to stand, but failing. Naruto slips the other eye inside his socket, and blinks a few times to now have an electric green Sharingan. Interesting he says. A trio of clones pop to life, as Naruto chuckles. You know what to do, he says, and leaps up on the balcony, as Kabuto is lying on his side standing over him. That felt good, Taiya says. Naruto turns Kabuto on his back with a smirk on his face. How's it going Kabuto? Do you remember me? I was someone who was playing ninja Naruto says, and Kabuto's eyes widened, but more so, seeing the Sharingan. Naruto Kabuto says. Of course alive, and ruined most of all do you like my new eyes? Naruto says. What have you done? Kabuto says. Naruto leans down to look Kabuto in the eye. Taking my first steps in revenge am I not allowed that he did kill me, Naruto says. Shall we kill the bootlicker? Ari says, walking up with. Naruto rises up with a smirk under his bandages. Of course I leave him to you he says, walking over Kabuto. Looking good, Gakienko says. The former smirks, and kisses to give her some more of his rune chakra, causing the snake mistress to moan, and her brown eyes turn electric green. They'll kill Pito-sensei, Naruto says, and Anko smirks. Make him suffer, Anko says, and he smirks. Naruto leaves the three and moves to find the snake Sannin, as his sins were like a beacon in a dark night. Music change. Orochimaru theme. Orochimaru, one of the legendary No, was a broken man. His battle 3 years ago with his former sensei left him without the use of his arms or jutsu for that matter. He had sent his best, the Sound 4, and later Kamimaro Kagaya to retrieve Sasuke, but all of them failed, saving Taiya, but only surviving due to her Uzumaki genetics. He had to switch to a new body when Sasuke arrived too late, but soon he would have Sasuke and his Sharingan. My rebirth in Sasuke-kun's body will be worth all the pain I have suffered, Orochimaru thought, starting to laugh, but coughing violently. Suddenly a stream of lightning pierces through his door, and Orochimaru throws up his arms for it to pierce through his block. This is, Orochimaru thought. The door and wall around it shatter, as Naruto stands with his left hand crackling with lightning. Being pierced by this attack twice sure teaches one some things, he says. NHA Choryu, Orochimaru hisses. Naruto moves closer with the Chidori Nagashi still pinning Orochimaru. Don't you recognize me, Snake Databeo, Naruto says, and Orochimaru's breath hitches. Naruto, Uzumaki, impossible, you killed, Orochimaru hisses. Naruto steps onto the bed with a smirk hidden by his bandages. But I didn't stay dead, oh, and do you like these, he says, showing his green Sharingan. What are those, Orochimaru hisses, preparing to free himself. Of course they are. I have to say I'm disappointed that you haven't made Sasuke any stronger, Naruto says. Orochimaru opens his mouth wide, and something flies out, as Naruto whips around to see a long snake-like creature made of smaller snake with Orochimaru's visage for a head. So that is your real form. How pathetic, Naruto says. Orochimaru hisses loudly, and sends a flurry of snakes, but several chakra blades appear around Naruto, slashing them to pieces, as Naruto moves. Amaterasu, Naruto utters, and black flames burst from his eyes, catching the snakes on fire, as Orochimaru looks in horror. I will take your body for myself, Orochimaru says, opening his wife to swallow Naruto, but green flames erupt from him. Orochimaru screams in pain, as the green flames overtake him, as Naruto slices off his head. Do not believe for a second you could overcome the Ruined King, Naruto says, driving several blades through the head. He picks up Orochimaru's head, and makes his way to find Ari, and, finding them with the foul-mouthed Kunoichi, is stabbing a kunai into Kabuto's eyes. So where's Karen in this space? Naruto says. She's like right behind you, and Naruto whips around to see a Redide with red eyes behind a pair of red frame glasses. She wears a long-sleeve white shirt with a purple tie, and black cuffs on her wrists, black boots, and black shorts. You have very dark chakra, Karen says. Naruto tosses Orochimaru's head to his clones, and looks Karen in her eyes. Does that frighten you, he says, but Karen shakes her head. No, it actually excites me, Karen says, and Naruto smiles under his bandages. Another to be ruined, Ari croons, and Naruto's eyes smile. He grasps Karen by the cheeks, and kisses her deeply, imbuing her with his chakra, and making her ruined. Karen moans loudly, as her red eyes turn electric green, and her hair gains 3 white streaks, before collapsing to her knees. So what are you going to do to Lim Dictai, says. Naruto looks down at Sasuke with a grin. He's gonna be a message, he says. What sort of message, says, and Naruto grins widely. Music ends. It was a beautiful day for the village, as today marks the 3-year anniversary of the death of the. Even with the elation of Naruto's death, the village still cursed him for not bringing Sasuke back. Things changed, as there was now a shinobi, but also a civilian council, as the elders managed to convince the Fire Lord to create such. Tsunade fought against this, as the village has always been led by a cage, not a council. However, the daimyo's word was law, and for the first time ever a civilian and shinobi council appeared in. The new council went to work, and stripped away most of Tsunade's power for the sake of the village, but it was for ulterior motives, as one man was the puppet master in the shadows. The eternal guardians of the gate Kotetsu and Izumo sit at the gate with the latter sleeping. Kotetsu looks out to the path leading the village, but his eyes narrow, seeing a stumbling figure with their arms behind their back, but bound to a wooden beam. Izumo wakes up, shouts, and pops up, but sees the bound figure. The figure walks with no destination, as if they couldn't see. Both make their way to the figure, but their eyes widen. Is what Sasuke Uchiha says. Sasuke was moving erratically, but they could see his mouth was sewn shut, and eyes empty. Where Sasuke mumbles weakly. What should we do? Kotetsu said, but suddenly Anbu appeared, knocking Sasuke out. Return to your post, one says, as they vanish with a swirl of leaves. At the same time she is making her way to the hospital, as Anbu informs her that Sasuke has appeared at the main gate, but is in a critical state. Whoever brought that blasted Uchiha back, I owe them thought. She reaches the hospital, as Shizune is waiting for her. Do we know how he appeared? Tsunade asks. No, Kotetsu and Izumo saw him wandering. His eyes are missing. Tongue cut out, and mouth sewn shut, explains, as looks into the room, and Sasuke is restrained. Why is he not under Anbu guard or even in Tiandai? Says. The sound of a cane catches their ears, and they look to see. What do you want? She says. I came to see if it was true, Danzo says, looking at the restrained Sasuke. Well, you can see it. Sasuke Uchiha has returned to Konoha, but without his Sharingan or his tongue either, says. Danzo grips his cane with a narrow eye. We should have Inoichi check his memories. The council will want to know this, he says. As soon as he is stable he'll be sent to T&I under guard, and I do not care what the council will think either about what his confinement says, and slowly nods. News would spread through the village of Sasuke's return, and many were calling for the last to be free, to hatred for the one who harmed him. The council meeting would be called, and would have to listen to both sides bicker, from the civilians whining about freeing Sasuke. The shinobi wanted him confined, and vetted for all the information he had. Are you all delusional? He killed our Jinchuriki, and has been working with a known traitor, Tsume Nizuka shouts. He did us a service of killing that monster, Sakura's mother Mibuki screeches. Tsunade flexes her kai, and shuts up everyone. Inoichi, what did his memories show? His attacker's face could not be fully seen, but he did hate Sasuke stealing his eyes, and leaving him in such a manner. The attacker has ash-white hair, and electric green eyes, but he wasn't alone. A woman with white hair, and green eyes was with him, Inoichi explains. Then Orochimaru could be dead, Danzo says. Tsunade leans back in her chair in thought. Do we know the location? She asks, and nods. I will send 2 squads of Anbu led by Kakashi Haddock to check the location, Tsunade says. What about Sasuke-kun? Mibuki says. He will stay in T&I. He is a traitor, and will be treated, as such his injuries will be dealt with, and given an eye transplant, and this angers a few people. That is not your decision. Tsunade, the council should vote on Sasuke, Danzo says, gnashing her teeth in anger. Even if you vote to free him he will still be vetted, as a traitor snaps, and nods with his eyes closed. Tsunade listens to the council vote to free them, but on a short leash with constant Anbu surveillance. You deluded fools on Naruto, I wish you were here, Tsunade thought. The Rookie 10, as they were now called, as Naruto was dead or so they thought, and Sasuke captured. I wonder who caught what, Team Kiba says. The group were meeting at Team 7's former training ground, who knows, but there are rumors, Shikamaru says. What sort of rumors? Tenten asks. He's blind, his tongue, Sakura says, clenching fists. How to be youthful, Lee says. What's going to happen to Sasuke? Niji says. He did betray the village. The council can't go easy on him even if he kills the demon, Hinata says, and at the mention of Naruto's name Doriki's gain disgusted looks. At least Sasuke-kun killed him, Ino comments. Someone who didn't deserve to die, Tenten comments, causing several to look her way. How can you still defend him? He was a kyuubi, Kiba says. Tenten rubs her eyes with a disgusted look on her face. Don't you know the difference between a scroll and a kunai? When you seal the latter in the former, does the kunai become the scroll? No, it doesn't. Naruto had the kyuubi sealed inside him, she says, walking off, as her teammates look at her with shaking heads. She's always been a demon lover. No wonder she idolizes the Hokage, Ino says. Unbeknownst to the Rookie 10, Naruto is watching them from a tower in the ruins of. Due to the invasion of the island, and a multitude of deaths, the place has become a literal hell on earth, allowing him to bring his sins to the mortal realm. He sits on his throne, as the naked forms of the sins, Ari, and Karen lay about from their hours of debauchery. The latter three's hair was stark white from his corrupted chakra. Good old Tenten, keeping the name alive, Naruto thought, but something clicked in his head. The Uchiha massacre, Naruto muses. It was a glorious day. I wish I could have seen it, Ari says, crawling into his lap. He strokes her cute ass, as she sucks on his neck. Perhaps I can lure Tenten away, but also Tsunade, and Shizu, Naruto muses. How would you lure her away? Ari asks, and Naruto taps his right eye. Well, at least don't use them on me, she adds. Maybe experience a lifetime of sex in 3 days, Naruto says, but his eyes narrow. Looks like we have a guest, he says before they blink away. Naruto and Ari reappear behind a strange, but bulky figure with a Venus flytrap, along with a literal black and white body. So it's true, Kyuubi, the black half says. And he's Naruto Uzumaki, the white half says. Naruto blinks forward, and grabs the creature by the head while looking into his pupilless eyes. And you're Zetsu causing so much shit to bring mommy back to life, he says, digging his fingers into Zetsu's head. I have a mission for you. Bring the one who orchestrated Ari's attack to the Uchiha district in 2 nights' time, Naruto says, pumping full of his corrupted chakra. Zetsu screams in pain, or rather the black half screams in pain, as the rune symbol forms over his eye, as Naruto pulls his fingers out. We'll make sure Tobi comes, the white half says, as they sink into the ground. Why do you want Tobi? Other than to kill him, Ari says. I'm curious about why he decided to follow Zetsu's bring back mommy plan and kill him. Now let's go back and make Anko Taiya and Karen look pregnant, Naruto says, and the pair vanish. Is this really how Konoha sees our clan? Karen says, staring at the dilapidated Uzumaki mask temple, and her hair back its blood red. Naruto stands next to her with hands in his pockets, and a slow nod of his head. They love to show off our clan's symbol, but when they need them most they hide behind their walls, as our clan was slaughtered and scattered to the winds, he says. The pair enter the temple, but the blonde senses an Anbu nearby. More lambs to slaughter, he thought. How disgusting. No wonder you want to destroy them. However, what about the other countries who destroyed our clan? Karen says. The others don't matter at the moment. My only concern is Konoha, but once I'm done, who knows, Naruto muses. They reach the main room, and several Hanyu-like masks were on the wall, so these masks can summon the Shinigami, Karen says. Didn't Orochimaru tell you about this? Naruto asks, but Karen shakes her head. Well, they could, but the Shinigami is being punished for its actions against the gods, he adds. The Ruined King raises his right hand, and electric rain chains burst from his body to pierce the mask, shattering them to numerous pieces, as several Anbu enter, but one stands out, as she has long purple hair, and a cat-themed mask. Who are your people? One of them shouts, each of them gripping their tantos. Naruto keeps his back to them, as Karen simply stares, but glances at the blonde. Who am I? Well, I am something Konoha has created, he says, activating his Sharingan, and casting a Genjutsu. Nico quickly attempts to break herself out, as her fellow Anbu screams, but Karen ensnares her with chains similar to Naruto. What these are, Nico says. It's been a long time since Nico Databeo, Naruto says, turning to face her. Nico's eyes widen behind her mask. Naruto, she says. Guilty, Naruto says, slowly approaching, as the screams of the other Anbu peter out. He slowly removes Nico's mask to reveal a beautiful face with brown eyes. Do you like them? They were Sasuke's, Naruto, showing off his Sharingan. Then you were the one who killed Orochimaru, and did that to Sasuke. Then senpai is what Nico says, and Naruto nods with a smile. Yep. He's walking into a trap. Aritaya and Enko are waiting for them, Naruto says, and Nico's eyes widen. Enko? But the council said she was killed in action, Nico says. She was sold off to Orochimaru. Not even the Hokage knew this, Naruto says, and activates Tsukiyomi to show her his death, but also his rebirth, as the Ruined King. You were always nice to me, as a kid, so I'll be nice to you, Naruto says, before softly kissing her. Nico's eyes widen, as Naruto's corrupted chakra enters her body, but she gives in, as her hair gains streaks of white, and the ruined whirlpool symbol appears on her body. Naruto releases Nico's lips, and Karen releases her, as she falls to her knees with heavy breathing, but looks up with electric green eyes. I serve the Ruined King, she says. But now I want you to find Chunin Tenten Higurashi, and have her meet the Hokage in the Uchiha district after sunset. Then tell the Hokage, and her assistant, that someone has infiltrated the Uchiha district. They have information on Orochimaru, and they'll only speak to her, and her assistant alone, Naruto says, and Nico bows her, before Naruto and Karen vanish. The downed Anbu slowly rises to their feet, and follows Nico unaware of what has happened, and returns to the village. Naruto and Karen stand on the roof of the temple, as the Ruined King rolls his neck. Is this wise? Karen says. There are people who still care about me still in the village. The Ichiraku have already left, so I'll get them out, and burn Konoha to the ground with Naruto muses, as they drop down in front of the temple. The Matarasu, Naruto declares, activating his Mangekyou Sharingan. Black and green flames burst from his eyes to set the temple ablaze, as the Ruined King simply stares. The temple slowly collapses on itself, and burns to ashes, as Naruto stops the fire. Now then, shall we wait? Naruto says, and the pair vanish, heading to the Uchiha district to await his prey. Tsunade-sama, how could someone slip in unnoticed, as the pair were making their way to the district? The blonde is deep in thought, as Nico is on their 6. I don't know Shizun, but we should be prepared. Tsunade-sama, Tenten says, landing, as the assistant reaches the gates of the district. What are you doing here? Tenten says, and Tenten furrows her brow, but before she could reply, a figure in a hooded cloak appears. Tsunade Senju, Karen says, hiding her face. Who are you? Tsunade says, leaking a little of Kai. Can we talk in a more private place? I am trying to avoid hunters, Karen says, and narrows her honey eyes. We can go to the Hokage Tower, Tsunade says, and Karen starts shaking in fear. No, please follow me, Karen says. Tsunade could see Karen trembling, and slowly nodded her head. Fine, let the way, Tenten with me says, and Karen bows at the waist, before turning on her heels to lead them further into the district. Shizun and Tenten look around to see that an entire clan was wiped out in a single night. So many people died here, Shizun says. How could such a thing happen? Tenten says. Because this village is rotten to the core, thought. The group arrive at the main house of Sasuke's father, and make their way to a garden, where Naruto is sitting on a bench in a cloak with a hood over his face. Who are you? Shouts. Naruto raises his hands in surrender. Hello, Tsunade Senju Shizun Kato, and Tenten Higurashi, he starts, and narrows her eyes. Forgive me, but I need to speak to you, though. Did you like my gift to Sasuke and Orochimaru, he adds, and their eyes widen. You did that to Sasuke, and killed Orochimaru, says. Naruto chuckles softly, and lifts his head to show glowing green orbs. I need to pay them back for what they did to me, he says. Did you say, shocking the three? And Naruto nods his head. 3 years ago, Orochimaru, Sasuke, and I cross paths which lead to my near-death, Naruto muses, slowly reaching for the hood, and pulling it down. Tsunade, Shizun, and Tenten's eyes slowly widen, as they see Naruto sitting across from them. Hey Granny Shizun Tenten, Naruto says, smiling. Naruto, you're alive, says, as the Ruined King rises to his feet, as Karen removes her hood. Naruto approaches, and pulls her into a hug, as the blonde towers over her. Sorry for the trickery to get here, but I couldn't exactly walk through the main gate, he says. Where have you been? Tenten shouts. I've been to places you can't even begin to fathom, Naruto says. What does that mean? Shizune says. Naruto glances at Karen, but back to the three of them, as his Sharingan comes to life. Gaze up my journey to hell, and back he says, activating Tsukiyomi. The women gasp, as they see Naruto's death at the hands of Sasuke from his point of view, the Shinigami appearing to drag him to hell due to the seal used. Hayami and Kami were furious, so Yami placed Naruto on the throne of hell, to make him the icon of sin, giving him the several mortal sins, and Ari. They learned that time moves much differently in hell than here, as a near lifetime or two passed, as the blonde ruled. They see Terse bringing Ari's other, but also the souls of, and Hiruzen to be judged, before learning would be able to return with a relic called the Yamato to his return, and dealing with Sasuke, but also Orochimaru. I've returned to judging Konoha, and his people for their sins. Some will be saved, and others now, Naruto says. Why spare Sasuke whispers. I want him to experience everything I did to be seen, as less than nothing without his precious eyes, Naruto says. Why show us this? Tenten says. Because I wish to offer you the same power I have given Anko Tei Karen, and Nico, Naruto says, and all three whip around to see Nico removing her mask, to show her electric green eyes. He can make you much stronger, Nico says. Tsunade grits her teeth, and looks to the boy she considered a son. You wish to destroy Konoha, she says. I do, but those who are innocent will be spared. I know you all see it. Konoha is rife with sin. They celebrated my death, celebrated a 13-year-old boy's death. You've seen how this village acts. How the council acts. The elders are so stuck in the past, that they don't see that Konoha is growing weaker, Naruto says, and couldn't refute that. The next generation after Kakashi were weak, and didn't understand how real shinobi operate. But to destroy Konoha, the same village was founded by Tsunade Sama's family, Shizune says. Naruto runs his fingers through his hair with a sigh. That village no longer exists. It's been perverted by Danzo, and the elders Sarutobi, and Jiraiya, and my father. I was not a person to them, I was a thing. You saw my memories. Sarutobi put seals on me to make me stupid, and loyal to Konoha, he says, and clenches her left fist to the point it bleeds. I know I found a journal with every sordid detail I should have left 3 years ago, but I was blind, whispering, but Naruto pulled her into his chest. Don't blame yourself. You tried your best, but the game was rigged from the start. However, I can give you the power to topple the house, Naruto says, before lifting you by the chin, and kissing her. Tsunade's eyes widen as, and Tenten gasp, but she feels something entering every pore of her body, causing her to softly moan with red cheeks. The purple rhombus on her forehead gains the ruined whirlpool symbol, her blonde hair turns solid white, and her honey eyes become electric green. Naruto releases, and she falls to her knees with heavy breaths, before shifting his gaze to, and Tenten. Next, Naruto says, smiling. Shizune and Tenten would normally have fought Naruto on this, but his words were right. Shizune remembers about 6 months after Naruto's undetermined death, the Busty had a small memorial made for Naruto, after the council hemmed and hawed about it. However, not every 2 hours later it was defiled by villagers or shinobi. Alright, says, approaching the blonde. Naruto repeats the process via kiss, but unlike her mistress, the raven hair medic moans even more, as her eyes change, and the ruined whirlpool appears on her right butt cheek. Shizune falls from Naruto's kiss, and she could tell her panties went through a crisis. Tenten gulps slightly, but falls to ruin like her idol with the ruined whirlpool forming on her belly. We serve the ruined king, the three women say in unison, and Naruto grins wide. But now let's commit the sin of lust on Sasuke's father's bed, Naruto says. The 5 women follow the blonde inside, and he commits the sin of lust with them for several hours. It would be after midnight when the 4 of the 5 would return to their homes, thoroughly ruined by the blonde, and ready to aid him in Konoha's destruction. The day would pass, as Ari, and would return with the head of Kakashi. The ruined king would pop down to hell to see Kakashi right next to his sensei in the circle of traitors, along with the Sandaime. Naruto returned to the surface, and prepared to receive the architect of his ascension to the icon of sin. Naruto sits in Sasuke's home where his parents were killed with Ari's in her fox form in his lap, his other ruins scattered about the room with sucking on his neck. The mortal sins were scattered around the district to make sure they are disturbed, as Naruto waits, and Tobi. So when do we leave the village? Tsunade asks. Naruto runs his finger down her back to her supple ass. After we talk to Tobi, I have some clones planning things, he muses, but his eyes narrow, as slowly rises out of the floor. Where is he? Naruto says. He's coming, White Zetsu says. A swirling distortion forms behind, as a tall figure appears with spiky black hair, and an orange spiral mask on his face, along with the Akatsuki cloak. Tobi meets the ruined king, otherwise Naruto Uzumaki, White Zetsu says. Tobi says nothing, and ignores the woman glaring at him, but his lone eye is on the small fox in Naruto's lap with 9 tails. How are you alive? He says. Straight to the point, Naruto muses, and Ari hops out of his lap, as he rises to his full height. The gods decided my death was unjustified, and restored me to life, as the ruined king of the underworld, Naruto says, now face to face, and nose to nose with Tobi. Obito Uchiha, Naruto adds, and Tobi seizes, your sins are lengthy, murdered so many in the name of peace, Naruto says, before snapping his fingers. Tenten approaches with a small bag in her hand and hands it to Naruto. Tell me, why did you decide to follow this foolish Eye of the Moon plan, he says. Don't speak, as if you can intimidate me, boy, Toby says. Naruto drops the bag at Toby's feet. I don't need to intimidate a fool, Naruto says, turning on his heels and plopping back on his throne. What is this? Toby says. Look inside, Obito. You like my gift, Naruto says, smiling widely. Toby keeps his eye on Naruto and his cadre as he opens the bag, but his eye widens as he sees the head of Kakashi. Like it, it's your old teammate Kakashi, Naruto crows. Toby remains calm, as his gaze is on the man who killed his precious Rin and destroyed his faith in the world. Inohara committed suicide by proxy, Naruto says, halting Toby, and he levels his Sharingan eye on Naruto. Tell him, Zetsu, how Madara had you make those Miss Ninja after Rin had the Sanbi sealed inside her. Tell him how you played Madara with the Eye of the Moon plan. Tell him the true aim of the plan was to resurrect your mother, Kagaya Otsutsuki, Naruto says. Toby stares at Naruto with his kai starting to roll off him, but his body jerks, as Black Zetsu's hand is sticking out of his chest. Sorry, Toby, but you are simply a tool I use like Madara, Black Zetsu says. What? Toby says, as Black Zetsu seems to spread over half his body to keep him from using. Madara believed I was his will, but I am the will of Kagaya Otsutsuki, the Usagi no Megumi, and true ruler of this world, but now I serve the ruined king, Black Zetsu says. Naruto titters, as he approaches Toby, and removes his mask to show his scarred face. You were simply a puppet on a string for Madara for Zetsu, and like you were a puppeteer to pain, Naruto says, before ripping out Toby's right eye. He gasps, as a second eye opens below Naruto's left eye, and a second socket under the right. You killed my parents who loved you like their own, Naruto says, and grasps Toby tightly around the throat. Zetsu quickly pulls itself away, as Toby screams with green flames bursting from his eyes and mouth. Enjoy eternity with my father, and Kakashi, Naruto says, before slipping Toby's eye into his new socket, and now giving him 4 Sharingan. The 2 new sockets recede, as Naruto rolls his neck, and Ari approaches. So what now, she asks. Now we give Zetsu its most ardent wish to see mommy, but also I want the Rinnegan, Naruto says, and Ari giggles darkly. The ruined crew and leave, as several explosions rock the village with pillars of green flames, namely the mansion, part of the hospital, Anbu HQ, the Nara research facility, and weapons. Unknown location. So Kagaya is sealed inside, Tsunade asks. The ruined group were deep underground, and staring at a giant earthen-colored humanoid entity with a mummified appearance, a body shaped similar to a robe, and a number of spike-like protrusions on its back. It has 9 closed eyes of an adult human, but blindfolded with its wrists and ankles bound along with a scroll in its mouth. The chakra of the Biju would revive the Kyuubi, and Mother Black Zetsu says. Naruto stares at the statue with several tilts of his head, and glances at Ari. Is that true, he asks. Kagaya was the first human to gain chakra. She ate the fruit of the god tree placed by Kami. It drove her mad, and she attempted to rule the world, but her sons, the famed sage of 6 paths, and his brother Hamura stopped her, explains Ari. The Biju are remnants of the Kyuubi created by Hagoromo, Black Zetsu says. So how do we free her? Enko asks, changing the subject. Naruto pockets his hands, and leaps several times to reach the top of the statue's head, before placing his hands down, and pumping the statue with his corrupted chakra. The ruined woman, Ari, and watch, as green cracks start to flow down the statue, as Naruto appears with. What have you done? Black Zetsu says, but Naruto smirks. Just watch, Naruto says. The statue starts to crumple in on itself, and breaks down completely to reveal a woman with long white hair, matching eyes with a third on her forehead, short white eyebrows, and brown horns on her head. She wears a white high-collar Haim kimono, which has a tomo running down the center and edges of the gown, and is adorned with intricate gold and purple lines. Mother Black Zetsu says. Kagaya looks over the group before her, and sees Naruto approaching. You have freed me, she says, floating towards him. She slowly reaches out to touch Naruto's cheeks with tears running down her face. Hagoromo is sir, Kagaya says. Neither am I the ruined king, Naruto says, before kissing the ancient woman, and giving her more of his corrupted chakra. Kagaya's white eyes were wide, but they slowly turned electric green, and the same happens to her third eye, as the red rippled eye with 9 turns electric green. Naruto releases Kagaya with a lick of his lips, and a smirk on his face. Whom do you serve, he says. The ruined king, Kagaya says, the ruined whirlpool between her pale breasts. Naruto turns on his heels with a smile on his face. There you are, Zetsu, mommy is free, and your mission is complete, he says. Zetsu stares at Kagaya, and slowly approaches its creator. Mother, we met at long last, Black Zetsu says. Kagaya slowly reaches out to run her long nails along the creature's face. You have freed me now, goodbye, she says, before 2 bones pierce Zetsu's head from her hands. Mother, why, Black Zetsu says, before crumpling to dust. Music. Icon of Sin Doom Eternal. Who are you people? A voice shouts, and the ruined cadre sees 2 people. One is a man with spiky orange hair, and purple ripple pattern eyes, and numerous piercings, with the other being a woman with blue hair, her amber eyes looking serious. I felt my connection to the Jito Meizo disappear, and I find you people here, the man says. Kagaya crushed Pain. The woman is mine, Naruto says, and Pain narrows his eyes. You think you can defeat Kami? Pain says, raising his right hand. Naruto's eyes shift to Obito Sharingan with a wide grin on his face. Sorry, but Kami is a radiant beauty, he says, before blinking forward, as the remaining Ruin cadre give the space. Conan, deal with him, I will guide the other paths here, Pain says. Conan slowly nods her head, as her body starts to break down into paper. Yes, Pain, she says, forming paper wings from her lower body. Shino Tensei Pain utters, firing a concussive force, but Naruto phases through the ground, and Kagaya avoids it. Conan fires several paper blades towards Naruto, but he spews a stream of green flames a Keke Genkai, she thought, and avoids them. Kagaya fires several of the ash killing bones, but Pain uses another to deflect them. You're skilled with the Rinnegan, but not to my extent, she says, using her own, and blowing Pain back. Pain shouts, but Naruto grabs her by the throat, slamming her into the rocky wall. Conan struggles to free herself, as Naruto is seemingly choking the life from her, but the Rune King starts to pump his chakra into her body. Conan groans, as her fighting slowly ebbs, as her amber eyes become electric green, her blue hair turns stark white, and the rune whirlpool forms on the base of her neck. Naruto drops, as her body goes limp, and, as he sees 5 other people arriving, are you, and the others deal with them. I'm going for the big fish, she shouts, before vanishing. Come ladies, your Rune King commands their deaths, Ari says, as cracks her knuckles, and the other draws their weapons with soon joining the fray. Naruto lands on the roof of a large tower with 4 faces on it, and rain washes over his body, before phasing through the roof. Inside is a contraption, and inside is an emaciated man with blood-red hair, and purple ripple-patterned eyes. Well, the man of the hour, Naruto says. The man known as Nagato glares at Naruto. You have no idea what you've done, he says. I know perfectly what is being done. I want those fancy eyes of yours to destroy Konoha, Naruto, and narrow his visible eye. Konoha means nothing. You have taken away my chance of peace, and Naruto starts laughing. Peace, you want peace, but you killed Eni, and all who were associated with Hanzo to bring about peace. Did you sleep at night when you killed his great-granddaughter? Oh yes, you will burn with the other heretics, Naruto says. Nagato grits his teeth, and shoots a cord from his contraption, but Naruto phases through it with Kami, before using his new left eye to rip out Nagato's heart. The second leader of the Akatsuki spews blood from his mouth, and slumps forward with a blank look. Naruto approaches Nagato's corpse, and removes his Rinnegan eyes to implant in eye sockets that appear above his eyes. Now I have the tools to wipe Konoha, Naruto smiles, his 6 eyes glowing as sick electric green dots. Song ends. Land of Fire Konohagakure no Sato. The council meets after what would be called the Long Night, as so much damage has been done to the village, not since Orochimaru's invasion. The areas involved with the green fire burned to ashes, and each damaged the village. The loss of weapons was not a serious loss, but it would limit their weapons. The Nara research facility set them back with medical herbs, food sources, and research for the future. Anbu HQ sees the loss of 30 trained Anbu, and on top of this list is Nico. However, the most egregious loss is herself, and the mansion seekers, as well. Do we have any evidence on who committed this attack? Danzo says. The clan heads were present with their heirs, or in Tsume's case both her children, with the civilian members not present. The fires destroyed all evidence, Shikaku says. Could green flames be Keke Genkai? He agrees. Were there any scents to trace? Koharu says, but Tsume shakes her head. The scents were destroyed by the flames, and the scent is so ruined, Tsume says, catching herself with a cough to hide her laugh. Earned questions. What about the Hokage? She was inside the mansion when Anbu put her inside when the flames erupted, Hiashi says. Once word gets out, the other nations could seize the opportunity, Himura says. But can we choose, as Rakudame? Shikaku says. Perhaps, Kakashi says, but the door shoots open, as Jiraiya enters, and he has a grave look on his face. We have a serious problem, Jiraiya says, and looks around the room. Kakashi, Haddock, and the 2 Anbu squads are dead, he adds, and this sends a deathly chill through the room. Tsume and Hana stifle looks of laughter with shocked gasps. What do you mean dead? Tsume says. As in I shadowed his team, and found his headless corpse along with the massacred Anbu, Jiraiya says. Was it Orochimaru's remnants or Orochimaru himself? Danzo asks. I didn't know I found his number 2 Kabuto with his eyes gouged out, and the remains of a large snake, but also some green flames, Jiraiya says, and this gets everyone's attention. Wait, where's Tsunade? Jiraiya says. Did you not see the village? We were attacked last night in strategic areas including the Hokage mansion. Anbu had Tsunade inside, when an explosion of green flames happened, Koharu explains, and Jiraiya's eyes whitened. So whoever attacked Orochimaru has also attacked us, Danzo says. The other members start to murmur amongst themselves, as Jiraiya takes a seat to try and attempt to come to terms that Tsunade could be dead. Whoever attacked us has made a critical error in doing so. Konoha will not fall due to these actions. The great tree will not be broken, Danzo says. However, suddenly tosses her head back with laughter, an almost maniacal type of laughter, as black tears start to run down her cheeks. Everyone gasps, as they see her eyes are now electric green. The great tree won't be broken, Haha says. But Hana giggles too, as black tears run down her cheeks, as well. The great tree will be scorched to nothingness by the ruined king, Hana says. What the hell's wrong with you two? Kiba shouts, but his mother and sister ignore him. Anbu appears around the pair, but both of them continue to laugh. Know this council of Konoha, the ruined king is someone you have wronged, and he will have just revenge, both say in unison, as they vanish with a swirl of green flames, and leaving a shocked council. The council were in abject shock at the proclamation of Tsume, and her daughter, ruined king. Who is the ruined king? Nobuki says. Danzo clenches his cane in thought, and a blank face, someone who is clearly our enemy, and managed to infiltrate the council. Kiba and Izuka. You will turn yourself over to T and I to root out if you are involved, he says. Kiba then bolts up in his chair with a shocked look on his face. I didn't know anything, he shouts, but No appears, and takes him away. For now I will take over Hokage duties, Danzo says, and look to Jiraiya, reach out to your spies, and find out anything on this ruined king, he adds. Jiraiya puts on a blank face, but he was ready to break down at the loss of, I will, he says, and vanishes with Shunshin. What about the village? Shikaku asks. We will begin reconstruction, as soon as possible, but this may be the opening attack on the village. We'll suspend missions outside the village, and keep our eyes on the other villages, Danzo replies. The council would soon file out to digest what they have seen, but also what they have heard, all of them wondering who the ruined king was, and some wondering how they created him. How could something like this happen? Koharu says. I do not know, but they are cunning enough to flip Tsume, and Hana and Izuka, Himura adds. Danzo stares at the hat on the desk with a narrow eye. Regardless, the great tree will not fall, he says. Meanwhile, Shikamaru would gather the remaining rookies, except for to discuss things going forward. I can't believe Kiba's mom and sister would betray the village for what ruined King Ino says. They even said the ruined king is someone we created, Choji says. Are we going to gloss over the fact that Kakashi-sensei is dead? Sakura says, and the rookies frown at this. We're not forehead, but you could kill someone like Kakashi-sensei, Ino says. Once word spreads about what has happened, things are going to get dangerous, Shikamaru says. Word did indeed spread through the village that he was dead, as well the defection of the matriarch and her daughter. This ignited fears in many of the residents, and they brace for impact from outside. Please don't kill me, the fire daimyo cries, a simpering mess on the floor. Naruto and his ruined cadre were in his throne room with the lord on the ground in a puddle of urine. I won't kill you, but Tsunade may want to crush your balls with her heel, he says. Tsunade slams her boot heel near the daimyo's crotch with a cruel smile on her face. Oh yes I would, she said. Each of the ruined cadres were wearing the same scandalous green and black kimono, as Ari with thin body stockings of white, green, black, and mesh with Kagaya, keeping her original outfit. Hana and were corrupted as well, but tripled in size. Naruto, why not let Kuromaru and the triplets have him? Tsume says. I need him alive. Konoha will whine to him to fund their reconstruction, Naruto says, and grabs the front of his robes. However, if he knows what's good for him, he'll say no to make sure his family remains in control of Fire Country, otherwise I'll burn his family from root to stem, and allow the other countries to carve up this country, he adds. I will do it, I swear to Kami, the Fire Daimyo says. Don't swear to Kami, swear to me, Naruto says, his electric green glowing menacingly. He lets go of the daimyo, and rises to his full height. Good day to you, Naruto says, and turns on his heels with his ruined cadre following him. I can't believe you made him piss himself, Anko says. Weak-willed men always lose their bladder when faced with overwhelming force, Naruto muses, seeing the cat Tora approaching. It leaps into Naruto's arms, and purrs softly, as the blonde strokes her ear. I've never seen that cat look so content, Tenten says, and Naruto grins. What can I say? Pussy loves me, Naruto muses, and all of them nod, thinking their pussies do love him. So what now? Tsunade asks. Now we wait. What I did to Konoha was an opening salvo, and my bombardment will continue, Naruto replies. The Ruined King was indeed starting his harassment campaign on. A week would pass when more explosions rocked the village, further crippling the hospital, and destroying a few orphanages, as well, but no bodies were found, except for the various matrons. The academy was next, but many of the students were away, but several of the teachers were inside. The civilians panicked and started to flee the village, but would stop them, and it didn't save them, as survivors that had managed to flee returned proclaiming that people with electric green eyes attacked them. Danzo would send his NA to check the area, and would find the bodies of adults burned with green fire, but no children. The village was not spared this, as well as children, but some adults would go missing each night, but the most notable were Anyude and Ice. Naruto learned his little corporation had played quite the prank, and made the village believe they too hated him. The three were so happy to see their boss, but saddened that he missed 3 years of their lives. The 4 Ice Queens were reunited, as Hana, and kidnapped, but they found the mistress had several seals on her courtesy of. The Ruined King freed Kurenai of her bondage, and corrupted her like them. Back in a series of murders began to happen with an unknown killer, the first being Mighty, then Shikaku Nara, and his wife, the Gate Guardians, and what tied each together with a thorny spiral carved into their bodies. This forced them to completely lock down the village and ask the daimyo for aid. But the Fire Lord shocked the village by denying his aid and pulling funding from the village. The people wondered why this happened and prayed to Kami, but their prayers were not answered. However, things would come to head as the bodies of and were found in the village square, stripped naked and castrated with their manhood stuffed in mouths, but also the words Ruined King is coming carved into their chests. Music. Dumas Hellwalker, sign of evil loop. Naruto and his ruined cadre make their way towards the main gates as clouds gather above the village, as if Kami has given up on the village hidden in leaves. The end of Konoha is finally here, Ari says, her hand intertwined with Naruto's hand. The tower will rise from the Uchiha district, and the mortal sins will have their fun, Naruto says, seeing the closed gates coming into view. Tsunade stares at the wall of the village her clan founded, but this place has become rotten, let's end this, she says. Naruto lets go of Ari's hand as his electric green Rinnegan comes into view and raises his right hand out. Shinra Tensei utters, blowing the gate and part of the walls to pieces. Though my ruined cadre your targets bring them to the Chuninix M Stadium, the rest well you know, Naruto says, and the group vanishes except Ari. This time around there's no Yondaime to seal away, Ari says, marching towards the destroyed gate and returning to her full fox form. Naruto touches the sword trinket around his neck and brings out the Yamato to slash the air a few times to open a pathway to Sasuke. Inside the village, civilians were running in terror, and ninja were fighting in vain against Ari. I thought the demon was dead, one villager shouts, knocking over a woman and stepping on her to escape. Danzo reaches the roof of the tower with and, how can this be, Kyuubi has returned, she says. Can we seal it away like before, Himura says. There are no infants left in the village, Kaheru says. Thank Yami, we took care of, what a voice said behind them, and they whipped around to see them with electric green eyes and stark white hair. Tsunade says. Danzo narrows his eyes and removes his supposedly missing right arm bound by 3 locks. How are you alive, Senju? He says. Thank the Ruined King says, and 2 of the 3 elders gasp, or, as you once knew him, Naruto Uzumaki, she adds, shocking and. So Uzumaki survived his battle with Sasuke, Danzo says, releasing 1 lock. Sort of, but I wouldn't get into details, Naruto wants Danzo you too, he could care less says, as her ruined rhombus glows, and markings spread throughout her body. The last of Danzo's locks full, and the bandages, as well to reveal 10 Sharingan eyes on his arm with the indent of a face on his shoulder. Uzumaki wants me. The boy is a fool to try, Danzo says. Levels a cruel smile, and vanishes to grab the 2 elders, crushing their heads with a spray of blood and brain matter. She moves quickly, and slices off Danzo's head with a chakra scalpel, but the candidate fades away. I will not fall so easily, Senju, Danzo says. But Tsunade sees one of her eyes now closed. In another part of the village, the rookies were attempting to evacuate people, but also dealing with the horror of seeing Ari. How can Kyuubi be here? I thought Naruto was dead, Ino shouts, directing people to the shelters. Numerous explosions start to go off, and one near her, tossing her into the window of a building. Ino struggles to get to her feet, as blood runs from cuts on her arms. Perhaps you should have listened to me, a voice says, and Ino looks to see Tenten. Tenten. Ino says, and Tenten smirks, pulling out a Kama sword from a seal. Tenten says, her eyes glowing in electric green. Ino gets to her feet and takes a defensive stance, as more explosions echo and shake the building. I thought you were dead. Killed in that explosion that destroyed Higarashi's, she says. Nope, it was a fake, Dad, and Mom are safe, Tenten says, and Ino narrows her eyes, but Tenten blitzes her, forcing her out of the building. The blonde cries out, as Tenten cuts into right thigh, and an elbow to the nose, knocking her on her back. Tenten slams her ballet shoe on Ino's stomach. Don't worry, Ino, I won't kill you. My king wants to judge you, Tenten says. King Ino says, before Tenten knocks her out with a stomp. She hefts into her shoulder and vanishes. In another part of the village, Hinata glares at the sight of Kurenai and the other ice queens. I thought you were dead, Hinata says. Nope, but I have become ruined, Kurenai says, as her electric green eyes come to bear. Your little sister says hi, and narrows her eyes. What happened to you, Hinata? You loved Naruto, Kurenai says. Hinata activates her Byakugan and slips into her gentle fist stance. When I grew up I saw Naruto Uzumaki for the demon he is, she says. Well, you're not wrong, Yugao says, drawing her sword. Have fun, Night-chan, we're going to her dad and cousin, and her fellow queens vanish. You should know Hinata, Naruto is alive, Kurenai says. Hinata blitzes forward with a flurry of strikes, but Kurenai parries each one, and Hinata gasps, as none of the ruined queen's points are closing. What do you mean alive? Hinata hisses. He's the Ruined King, Kurenai says, as a large tower explodes out of the Uchiha district. This distracts Hinata, and it allows Kurenai to use a Jinjutsu on the heirs to knock her out. Anbu, and various ninja would rush towards the tower, but they would meet their ends from the 7 mortal sins, allowing them to spread throughout the district. Then another party launches at his mother with a Jutsuga, but the dog woman dodges, as her hair is stark white. How could betray the village? Kiba shouts. I felt the power of the Ruined King, and I became his submissive bitch, Sum says. Kuromaru lands next to her with deep growling, and is 3 times as large compared to Akamaru. Do you want to know who the ruined king is? Hana says, landing behind him with her hair also stark white, and the Himera triplets next to her. Kiba glares at his sister, as she is covered in blood, and she is, as well, but also sees flesh in their maws. He ignores his sister, and tosses a pelt at Himera, who cares. Let's do this Jinjukanbi henge. Satoru shouts, as a large puff of smoke erupts. It dies down to reveal a two-headed Akimeru, and now the size of, as Belly laughs, that won't save you she says, forming the same sign, and Hana follows suit. In their place were a four-headed wolf, and a two-headed wolf, but twice, as large, as himself. Kiba rushes with several wide swipes, but it won't save him. Music change. The Doom Hunter Doom Eternal, Shikamaru, and Choji were searching for their enemy, after coming from the Aburum compound to find many of their members being eaten from the inside by their own insects. Shino was at the center of this, but his stomach has been busted open from the inside by his own hive. It could do that to Shino. Says. I don't know Ino, but we need to find the rally point and counter-attack Shikamaru says. But Choji shouts, pointing, and the pair skids to a halt as a body crashes to the street before them, but they recognize him. Shikamaru narrows his eyes, as Sasuke struggles on all fours, but a figure slams a boot into his back. Look who it is, the remains of Team 10 tell me did you enjoy my gifts, the figure says, slowly turning their head, and the pair's eyes whiting. Naruto? Shikamaru shouts. Naruto stomps hard on Sasuke's back, and he screams in pain. Hey Shikamaru, long time no see, Naruto says. Are you responsible for this? Choji says, fearful in his tone, and he gives the plump ninja wolfish grin. Of course Konoha is simply paying for their sins against me, Naruto says, his arms apart. Sin? Shikamaru says. Naruto's electric green eyes glow darkly with a trail of smoke. Yes, you must know I am the holder of the Kyuubi no Yuko, and how the village celebrated my supposed death to face the memorial Tsunade set up for me. Look down on Tenten. As a demon lover, all I am doing is showing them the same kindness they showed me, he declares. You killed my parents, Shikamaru shouts, anger in tone, and Naruto grins, as this was a sight from the lazy genius. I killed those who would be a serious threat. Your dad might guide Jiraiya Asuma, Naruto says. Nikiden Sensha shouts, expanding, and rolling forward, as Shikamaru prepares his cage mane, but Naruto raises his right hand. Shino Tensei, Naruto utters, blowing them back, and he turns his attention to Sasuke. To think this all started because you killed me, Naruto says, and leans down to grab Sasuke by the head. Take heart though, you get your revenge on the village for what they did to your clan, he whispers, before ripping out Sasuke's soul with a pat. He turns his attention back to Shikamaru, both struggling to their feet with cuts, and having a broken arm. Naruto creates a chakra rod, and flings it with enough force to pierce out the back of Choji's head. Choji? Shikamaru roars, as his oldest friend crashes to the ground. He has no time to mourn, as Naruto yanks him forward with Bansho Tenin. You were my friend, or so I thought, Naruto says. You're a demon, Shikamaru says, hatred in his eyes. Naruto throws his head back with an echoing cackle. Of course I am, he says, before snapping Shikamaru's neck, and tossing him aside. Music change. Welcome to Hell Doom 2016. Hinata stares in both horror and anger at the sight before her, as she was in the exam stadium with several bodies around her, but most of them are dead, recognizing her father, and her gaze shifts too, and the ruby-eyed Kunoichi has a smirk on her face. A thud echoes, and Hinata's eyes whiting, as Kiba is dropped unceremoniously near her with a deep gaze on his body, but also missing his right arm. Is he dead? Kurenai says. He's alive, and Naruto will kill him, Sum says, and Hinata grits her teeth in anger. Tsunade appears with the head of, as more and more women appear, but recognizes some of them, as Tenten, Hana, Nico, and Sumridid. Sakura screeches, as drags her by the hair, as her limbs were useless from poison. I thought you would have killed her, Anko says. Naruto can do it. She was his first crush, Shizune says. A swirl of green flames erupts, as Naruto appears with a smile on his face. Hello my ruin, he declares. Nerubaka. Sakura screeches. Naruto rubs his ear with a smirk on his face, but looks over Hinata, and Ino. You should know Sasuke is dead, and with him the Uchiha, he says, shocking Ino. How could kill Sasuke-kun, Sakura screeches. Naruto stands over Sakura with his electric green eyes glowing in the shadows of his face, before he raises his boot, and crushes her skull. Ino grits her teeth with tears in her eyes, as Naruto turns his attention to Danzo's head. Couldn't bring him, Naruto asks. I tried, but he kept using a bunch of Sharingan, so I didn't hold back, and killed him numerous times. He then tried some suicide jutsu, so I brought you his head, Tsunade says, tossing it aside. Naruto shrugs, and turns his attention to Hinata with her lavender eyes full of hatred, but then to Ino with hate in her baby blue eyes. I killed Shikamaru, and Choji too, Shino, as well, Naruto says, but looks around. Where's Lee, he adds. I had to kill him. He was annoyed, Karen says, and Naruto nods, squatting to grab Kiba by the hair. Hey Dogboy's still alive, Naruto says. Kiba barely opens his eyes to see Naruto, but his body won't listen to him, how Kiba says. Why should I tell you what Naruto says, letting him go, and setting him on fire with Amaterasu. Now then Hinata, how would you like to live, and become ruined like the others? Naruto says, turning his attention to the pair. Go to hell, Demon Ino shouts, but finds her head no longer on her body, courtesy of. Naruto kneels to Hinata to look into her eyes. I thought you loved me, Hinata, he says. I hate you. You abandoned me by dying, and I know what you really are, Hinata says. Naruto sighs, and grasps her cheeks. So you subscribe to what the she thinks I thought better of you, he says, before snapping her neck. Naruto sniffs a bit, and rises to feet to look at Hinata's corpse. Ari should be preparing to use her Bijidama on this place. Let's be on our way, he says, and all of them vanish with swirls of green flames, as the tower in the district sinks back into the ground. Konoha would fall not with a shout, but a whimper, as it would become a crater from Ari's barrage, as the 5 Hokage's visages, as their silent watcher. News would quickly spread of Konoha's destruction, and the other great nations would send spies to figure out who caused this destruction. Iwa and Kumo would not mourn the loss of Konoha, but they would see an opportunity. The Fire Daimyo scrambled to find a way to recoup the power lost by Konoha's destruction, by starting a new shinobi village, but it failed, as the vultures descended. His counterpart descended like wolves on a fresh carcass with their ninja villages. Even minor villages joined the fray to carve the largest country for themselves. However, the only major village to not be involved is, as they descended back into civil war after the assassination of God Mei, found murdered by her trusted right-hand Ao. However, the truth is, Mei had been ruined by the Ruined King, where Naruto learned Mei was from the branch family of the Uzumaki. Kiri was tearing itself apart, as Naruto used his Sharingan to whip the people into a murderous frenzy to repay their part in destroying. Would be the next to feel the Ruined King's wrath, as Naruto captured Killer Bee, and released them from its seal. Ari would try to convince her fellow demon to destroy them, but he declined, causing Naruto to use Obito's Sharingan. Kumo would put up a valiant defense against but the appearance of the turned the battle into a slaughter. Naruto would ruin 3 Kunoichi names, and continue expanding his ruined cadre. The Yondaime Reikichi would die not knowing who the Ruined King was, but would meet him in the underworld. Kumo's full spread like wildfire like Konoha's full, and this would put all the nations on notice, but none more so than Iwa. The Sandaime rallied his forces, and prepared for the inevitable attack, and would come from his now ruined granddaughter. Kurisuchi would be found over the corpse of her grandfather with a crazed look, and proclaiming the Ruined King would have his day. However, Iwa's ninja weren't able to kill Kurisuchi or mourn their cage, as a previously undiscovered volcano would erupt from under Wagakure, wiping nearly every person in the village and surrounding area. Sunagakure was the last major village, and prepared to feel the wrath of the Ruined King, but unlike Iwa, Suna did not feel the Ruined King's wrath. Instead, the Ruined King revealed himself as Naruto Uzumaki, son of the famed Yondaime, but many would wonder why someone with such a lineage would destroy it. However, no answer came, as Naruto sent letters to the major daimyo that he would be watching, and if anything befalled or they tried to raise their former villages, his wrath would come to them. Naruto would gain one more for his ruined cadre in Gaara's sister, and in turn Gaara gained money to raise his village to prominence. The ruined cadre would return to the underworld and pay watch, as the upper world continued to run. Yami was pleased by her sister's choice, and the discord, but also destruction he caused. She was so pleased that she took the Ruined King to her bed. On the other hand, Kami was not pleased by her child of prophecy. However, her choice could either save the world or destroy it, which Naruto chose the latter, as Sasuke, but also forced his hand. The end. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.